Hello everyone. Hope you had a good lunch. I'm going to take you through our journey. We are indeed living in an interesting times. This is a Chinese proverb which may mean as a blessing or as a curse. What does this have to do with identity management? Yeah, it has to do all about identity management because it's a challenge. Why is it a challenge? Not long ago, we had these. The identity is to access a device or a network. Then came these. We still had identities, but now we are accessing multiple devices and multiple networks. That sounds okay. These are some of the things that are going to come. If you think these are Gartner hype curve left side of the items, think again. As I speak here, British Gas engineers are installing smart meters. We have already installed millions of smart meters, and by 2020, all meters will be smart. These days, we call the real meters dumb meters. And if you look about home automation, we have Hive home products where you can remotely control your heating. Your boiler can make an appointment with our engineers. So this is real. And if you are like me, that you have given up hope of British summer, you should definitely try our Hive product. That's my sales pitch. But we don't have a stall. And if you think you have seen all, how about this? The real matoken, I don't know how I pronounce it in Japanese, is the robo standing next to the humanoid. And how about Google cars? What's going to happen to identity and how we consume these services? Truly, both the scope and the scale and the complexity is growing in identity management space. Now, that's about the problem space. When you think you have seen everything, think about this. This may be a picture from a sci-fi movie, but we never know what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk of this world are up to. Okay, enough of that. Let's look at the solution domain. Here is a 50,000 feet view where we have the usual suspects, people, process, and tools on one side. And on the other side, we have access management, governance, and lifecycle management. In the first half of today, we heard Simon and Dawn give an excellent speech about these areas. But my speech is going to be only about the first two things. Now, there is a paradox when it comes to identity management. What is it? Now, we always had users, and we have services and devices. These are the three actors, whether it's a real world or digital world. For example, in British Gas, the electricity and gas that we supply is a service that you consume. And we have devices which monitors and meters your consumption. In the digital world, you have emails and others which you consume. Now, what we are seeing is with the advent of smart meters and smart devices, the interplay between all these actors is converging. Your digital and real world is converging. So what does that mean? This means all these actors have got identities. There is a relationship between these actors, and this relationship is context and time sensitive. So that makes the problem domain more complex, isn't it? At the same time, we also have demand. The demand says that we want right data to the right entity at the right time. Notice I have not said right people. because we're no longer talking about people. We believe that the key to the kingdom is access management. I'm Karthik Silvaraj, platform architect from British Gas. I know what you're thinking. This is not an oil platform. British Gas do have digital platforms. Okay, let us go through a few scenarios. First, we have end users. Now, from identity perspective, what we want to ascertain is when the users say who they are, we as a service provider need to make sure that we are sure about the identity of the user. And then we need to make sure that we trust the network where they are coming in from. And depending upon these factors, that we will give access to the resources. Now, this has all the mix of a spy action thriller. You have trusted and untrusted devices, you have trusted and untrusted network, and whatnot. Added to this mix is mobile devices, bring your own devices, and single sign-on, and various other things. The next use case is about business to business. Here, the access and identity requirements are different. This is in the opposite scale of the spectrum, where we have to do business with these partners. We have contractual obligations with these partners. So the identity is even more important, where we have to trust the other party. And with highest confidence, we should share our data and services. Similarly, we will also consume data and services. Now, with the advent of SaaS products, HR as a service, booking holidays as a service, and whatnot, we have to integrate these with your enterprise. This is a new age challenge in order to unlock value. And also, we need to make sure that the integration goes seamlessly. Now, we have seen two extreme ends of the problem and how identity and access management varies. The next one is about microservices, API economy, and various other things. Now here, we assume from identity point of view, the user and the service that they come in through are validated and authorized. Now, let's get back to how things were a few years back. We had system of records which pretty much dictated what access protocols and types are supported. We just wrote clients which are point-to-point. With the advent of microservices, we are seeing an increase in complexity at the supply side or the server side, and also with the new devices, we are also seeing a lot of new variations and products, right from iWatch to whatnot, in the client side. Now, if we continue doing point-to-point, we are increasing the risk. There are a lot of egress and ingress points, and it becomes very, very complex to an already complex domain. This is the paradox. How do we solve this? What we did in British Gas, in our journey, that's what I'm going to share with you. From an architecture point of view, loose coupling and strong cohesion and federated access are the three principles that are cornerstone. How do we achieve this? We just abstract, mediate, and simplify the access to allow clients to choose the protocol or the framework of their choice, and servers to continue to use the protocol of their choice. and there is a mediation layer which mediates between the two parties. Now, imagine yourself, the car and the ignition system in the car hasn't changed for a long time. What has changed is the way we start the car. Earlier on, we used to use the keys to start the car. Now we have got keyless entries. So the evolution in the way we operate the car or start the car is from the user and how they operate that. Applying the same principle, what we have done is we have built a platform which we are calling it as Auth as Service. Again, this is an acronym from Gartner. When we built this, we didn't know that acronym. Gartner came up with this acronym only 6 months back. Now, what that means is either it is an end user or a developer, they can consume a URL from us, similar to how they would consume Facebook, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then we provide authentication and authorization as a service. We have completely abstracted all the back-end services, and the user just consumes what they want. Now, from the governance point of view, we have got audits and access control, and then we use various security components like API gateways and WAF to provide the service. We also have got intrusion detection and SOC to give us the feedback on how the users use our platform. So far, so good. Now, whilst this looks simple, this also solves a lot of questions and problems that I have outlined before. If the user is coming from an internal network, then they get resolved to a different IP address. If the user is coming from an external network, they will be resolved into a different IP address. So we know from their IP address where they are coming from, so we can put a necessary challenge for that. Next, if they are coming from a mobile device, we do have mobile access management, and we know your devices, and we can apply various authentication and authorization challenges. Now, last but not the least, we have hosted our service in a cloud provider. Now, cloud means different things to different people. For us, cloud is a system of innovation. It allows us to build systems that can scale to millions of users. It is a tool for agility and productivity. That's about the building block. The next part is, how does it work? Now, as you can see, imagine this as a funnel where you have 2 layers. The first layer gives you the breadth, and the second layer does with all identity management and identity federation. And then if it's a legitimate traffic, then we pass it to the underlying IDP system, and we give the user the token that they wanted. And if there is any bad traffic, we detect it, and then we log it into a SIEM system. That's how it works. In terms of timelines, around about 2 years it took us to build this system. It took us 8 months using lean methodology and minimum viable product approach to build our first prototype and pilot. After that, we incorporated new clients and access patterns. Currently, we are in an expansion phase. We are part of a global Centrica group, and we have other group of companies globally. So this service, we are providing it to other parts of the business. And finally, in our roadmap, we wanted to make it as a BAU system so people can consume based on ticketing, and there's a well-defined cost model. What are the lessons learned? Whilst the things I have mentioned here in the slide reflects the KPAs and KRAs, it doesn't reflect the sentiment. So I'm going to tell you a story. Now, one of our services and repair engineer has sent us a thank you note. Now, prior to this system, the engineers had limited access to the jobs that they do. When using the system, one of our engineer has visited a customer, and she told to wear a shoe cover before entering her house so that she doesn't soil the carpet. The engineer noted that down, and it was in our system. After some time, when the next engineer visited, he was wearing the shoe cover even before he knocked the door. Now, the customer was delighted. In British Gas, when we say we are looking after your world, we are committed to that. Then there are a lot of integration challenges that we faced. For example, to integrate Kerberos for a single sign-on into our system, it took us 5 months. Not because of technical issues, vendor management, and various other traditional vendor integration challenges. But once we got through the initial phase, the next service was onboarded in 5 minutes. That's the power of the platform and the integration patterns that we have used. Things to consider. This is a specialist area. Also, there is a lot of things happening in this space. So this means you need a dedicated center of excellence. And last but not the least, there are a plethora of standards: SAML flavored, SAML like, SAML compliant, you name it, we have seen it. All of them have special cases. If there is one point that I wanted to give you as a takeaway, think of identity management as a capability. It is a bedrock for your next generation innovation. Build it as a platform which will help you to assimilate different tool sets, different protocols, and various other complexities that is ever growing in this area. Last but not the least, deliver it as a service, because that's what your user cares and that's what your developer wants. Thank you very much. You've been an excellent audience.